Hello. I'm the light entertainment, I think, for this morning. I'm just going to check one thing. Oh, yeah. Very cool. I'm going to be using this.
I didn't even know that happened.
Now, hang on, just making sure. Is that it? No. The big, of course it's the big green button. Of course it is. Right, so going to talk to you about mass personal at scale, courtesy of Snickers and TMP. So I'm not going to over-labor this slide because we're all marketeers, but what we are seeing is as technology evolves, consumer expectations are changing. They want to be entertained more. They don't just want personalized advertising. They want personalized experiences. They want to co-create with brands as long as it's fun and interesting. And critically, they don't really, well, and sorry to everyone in the room and all the conversations we've had around optimizing frequency and reach, but over time we're seeing a decline in trust of brand-led communications and increased trust when it comes to influencers, peers, word of mouth, etc. So in some respects, these change in expectations raises the bar for us. It means as marketeers, we're challenged to up our game and meet them where they're demanding more. It means that the need for smart creative thinking has never been higher. But the bigger opportunity that we see, especially in the realm of CPG, is that we should try and aim communications at the heart. Okay, so fundamentally, we're all emotional human beings. And so if we can resonate emotionally with our consumers, our impact is going to be that much stronger. So does anyone know José Mourinho? Personally? Oh, I wish. So what's really nice about José Mourinho, what's really entertaining about José Mourinho is he's sardonic. He's cynical. He has no ducks to give when it comes to providing feedback. You see what I did there? So tapping into that unique humor means that we had a huge opportunity to potentially capitalize on him as a spokesperson for the brand. And it would be ludicrous of me to tell a room of Americans about the Hangry campaign from Snickers because it was invented here but became a global idea. And as a campaign idea, you're not you when you're hungry. It's a creative idea that is a gift that keeps on giving. But the question is, how do we bring that idea to life in light of consumer expectations? So yes, I got a lot of coaching before this presentation to not say football, soccer. Soccer. Thank you. So soccer is a space that we knew that our audience cared deeply about, very expensive to enter. Without traditional sponsorship or the budgets that come with that, we had to find a new way to enter the games. And the good news is there are a lot of hungry mistakes that are made when it comes to football. So now I'm going to use my groovy. Ooh! So this is the definition of eternal optimism. This dude woke up at 4 a.m. inside an empty stadium. So I'm guessing he had a little too much moonshine. And here someone got completely attacked and annihilated when he tried to run on the pitch. So plenty of opportunity to capitalize upon. And what we also discovered is that soccer fans love soccer, but more importantly, they like the banter. They like roasting each other, slagging each other off, sharing memes. But what's critical is they're not doing it publicly. They're doing it inside personal social groups. So I know that WhatsApp in the US is not a big deal. It's huge outside of the US. I guess the equivalent would be iMessages. What would be the sort of the little group chats? I guess it would be more. Oh, WhatsApp is. Okay, fine. Oh, right. You guys caught on. Excellent. Glad to hear it. So we thought there might be an opportunity. How could we penetrate those personal WhatsApp roasting conversations? And cue special José Mourinho. What if we were to get the most respected and sardonic coach on the planet to enter those banter personal conversations? Now, at the time, so this was about 1.5 years ago, maybe even 2 years ago, there was a lot of information around deepfakes. What was interesting about it is that they were quite limited in what they were able to do. All deepfakes to date had been sort of linear pieces of film. Is that Putin? Is that not Putin? Is Trump actually playing football? All of that stuff. But what if, and then at the same time, brands only offered templated solutions. So any deepfakes that were being played with were more in line with your classic chatbot experience. If I say this, I will get that answer. If I say that, it does not compute. That sort of predictable outcome. And so we asked ourselves, what if we handed the control of a José deepfake to consumers? So in order to get them to personally roast their mistakes. Now I'm going to see if this plays.
Alfie, you must have a secret mission to perfect the art of the own goal. Bravo. Tom said you texted your ex. That's like pressing the self-destruct button on your spaceship just before takeoff. A choice so baffling, it leaves everyone scratching their heads in bewilderment. Maybe you just need a Snickers. Michael, your tactics are so baffling. The only team you'd lead to victory is the Invisible 11. Pat mentioned that you have great football knowledge but are embarrassing at fantasy football. That's like trying to win a chess tournament with rubber ducks. Looks impressive, but utterly pointless. Maybe you just need a Snickers. Riley, first of all, I want to say, what a time to be alive. But not for you. David said you lost your keys. That's like misplacing your spaceship on a road trip. An adventure turned unexpectedly stationary. Maybe you just need a Snickers.
So, as you can see, he's a fun guy. And he doesn't hold back. And as you can also see, no two videos were alike. They're all funny, unique, and believably him every single time. So unlike previous personalized video co-creations, this truly put the control, somewhat, in the hands of our fans. So we're going to take you behind the scenes, and we're going to talk you through a bit of the pain and the work that went behind creating this fantastic experience for consumers. So first of all, safety. The first issue, as with any web build, is you need to filter out the malicious users. So I'm going to get my little thing over here. So we defined personal potential interactions with our program as genuine good faith users who are perhaps a bit non-compliant and saying something a bit dodgy that needs correction. Then there are the troublemakers that would cause global headlines if we process them wrong, and equally the hackers who wanted to disrupt the whole experience. So we needed to build an AI train of thought series of chain of thought architecture in order to ensure that we had compliant roasts, and then that the response we generated in response to those roasts were also compliant. So essentially a filter here to make sure that they were compliant, generated response from Mourinho, an extra filter here to make sure that the response generated was also compliant before generating the voice and the video and rendered and being pushed out to WhatsApp. That was essentially the sequence of events. And then just to give you a sense of that first bit, how did we filter out the malicious users? That was by using 3 AIs. So essentially, if a request came in, so for example, I messed up on Fantasy League Soccer, was compliant. he slept with my wife, was not compliant, etc., etc. So the first AI needs to evaluate whether the AI is compliant. If it's compliant, job done, push through to rendering a response and a roast for Mourinho. If the request is not malicious but needs rewording, we built an AI to propose an alternative, and if the user agreed with it, we pushed through to render a response. Now, if we had he slept with my wife, then that just, that resulted in a response that basically said, not sure we can do that. Have you got another roast you would like to generate? And after months and months of engagement with legal teams, especially on the client side, and they had to be open and they had to work very hard because this was new territory for them, we identified all sorts of areas that were absolute no-goes. So that's famous names, obscenities, IP conflicts, body parts that might not be offensive, but in the context of Jose, they might. And in some instances, there were ideas that were potentially harmless, but could come across as derogatory or biased. So we've got 3 AIs that essentially determined that we had an input for roasting that was compliant. We then built a further 5 to generate the result. So you'll see that Jose, in the videos that you saw, reflects back what your mistake was, what your rookie error was. And then he goes, that's like something ridiculous, sardonic, and sarcastic. So the reflecting, the roast back, and the analogy were delivered by 2 separate AIs that we trained, and then fed into a single readability AI that ensured that the analogy and the diss complemented each other. From there, it was sent through to an AI that ensured that it was brand safe and it wouldn't offend anybody. There was a loop here that ensured that if it needed amending, it was amended. And then the moment our AIs were happy with it, we sent it through to a third-party AI because we had to mitigate all risks, who checked it, sense-checked it for a 3rd time, approved, and then it was sent out to render. Does that make sense? Oh, thank God. Okay. Right, because I'm not a technical expert, so I'm speaking it in my language. All right, so then there was a question around humor. Everything, because this was the first time anyone had ever done anything like this. So Mars had to take a leap of faith, and they were really brave. And they took the pain and risk on board. And to begin with, we all collectively said, it's better to be safe than funny. But then we learned very quickly that too safe is not funny. And so we really had to work to find that sweet spot and get that shareability. And talking of sweet spot when it comes to humor, this is Kyle Ruddick. He is as humorous as his shirt. He was our director. He's an interesting guy. He's ex-MIT and Disney Studios. And so he could crucially understand what holds a viewer's attention, but also how to coax it out in a series of AIs that could interpret a fan's input and turn it into a funny film every time. So he effectively likened the research and development stage as casting for AI agents to generate the funny responses that met his standards. But it wasn't just about writing a funny script. Jose's sardonic humor is very distinctive. So part of our building of these programs meant that we had to build scripts that Jose might actually say. And if you know him, you'll know there are many memes, he uses metaphors, all of these things. And so we created a whole dossier to train him on his specific tone of voice. And craft. So we set about a discovery phase. connecting all these different AIs to test the rigor and compatibility of how different AI engines could work with each other. So on the one hand, we've got AI filtering the brand safe consumer request, generating the scripts and pushing it forwards. We've got 11 labs generating the voiceover and the video and rendering it. And essentially, it was a matter of finding the right balance between speed and quality and getting the quality of humor quickly. To create the final version of the film, Jose is extraordinarily wealthy. He did not need to do this. He was interested in the idea. He was interested in the notion of roasting anyone. And so we managed to find 3 hours of his time in a London house, not his London house, someone else's London house, in order to film him. And in order to make every video feel real and authentic, we tried to film him in a way where he kind of stops what he's doing and he turns to you and does a whole, what were you thinking? And in order to, and it's not like a TV film, we had to make sure that we got the responses we needed from him and the gestures and the tone of voice that would really feel like he's about to lay into you. So it was more about recording him and having a conversation with him in order to feed the agent.
For the last 15 years, Snickers have been calling out people's hungry mistakes, satisfying them when they're not quite themselves.
Better?
Better. So, when football fans were scoring own goals off the pitch during the Euros, they had to act. So they appointed me, José Mourinho, to provide special one-to-one advice for anyone who messed up. Alice, I didn't know it was possible to mess up this badly. If there were medals for mistakes, you'd be gold. Michael, your strategy is so poor that even the grass cringes when you step on the pitch. Except I am not José Mourinho. I'm an authorized AI version of him. Trained on the post-match interviews to look like José, sound like José, and think like him too.
And Snickers have actually released a new tool where you can get José Mourinho to embarrass your friends.
Fans told me about their mate's mistake on WhatsApp. I replied with a personalized video for them to forward on in minutes. Tom said you texted your ex, you lost your keys, you lost the fantasy league, won't stop talking about satay chicken skewers. That's like trying to win a chess tournament with rubber ducks. Looks impressive, but utterly pointless. Maybe you just need a Snickers.
This is truly a pioneering AI experience that combined 3 powerful AI engines in real time to create thousands of completely different videos of José. We built a bespoke chain of 8 AIs to make sure that José always spoke uniquely, funny, and responsibly.
Results? José always gets results. 440 million earned impressions. 0 brand safety issues. And an average dwell time with the brand of over 2 minutes. That's longer than some of my press conferences.
Respect.
There you are. I guess the reason that we talked about presenting this case study is because we've talked a lot about efficiencies and the shortcuts AI can drive, but it's clear that with a bit of imagination, we can do so much and we can create absolutely new territory. So this I generated in AI and it's just hideous, so I apologize. But what that was supposed to be was an agency and client taking a leap of faith. And look at the rainbow. It's all bright, you know, if you make that leap. But really, the commitment and the decision to double down and work through all the risks paid off exponentially. And so I really do advise all the brand owners in the room to really think about how you can overcome any potential legal reservations in order to break through for exponential impact. I don't need to go through this in great detail, but you know what we've learned. We need to add value. We need to be entertaining. It needs to be about the idea, not the tech. The idea comes first and the tech enables it. Safety and quality have to sit at the heart if it's ever going to fly. When you get your consumers to co-create with you, they become your ambassadors. And experiment away. Have fun. Try and break it. That's it.
Shula, thank you so much. I don't know what I like more, honestly, the campaign or just you, period. Like, can we create an AI version of you to bring to every single one of these conferences?
Yes.
Who has some questions for Shula? Yes.
Hi, Shula. Thank you.
Hey.
Sherry from NP Digital. So I wanted to know more about the speed to execution, like even from pitching Jose himself, and then you said Mars had a lot of buy-in. Were there any obstacles in the way? Like if you had to pinpoint, this started in X month and X year, and then the first WhatsApp videos were generated X month. Like what did that timeline look like?
Oh my God. Well, are you still filming?
Yes.
Oh, okay, good. Good. So what I would say is this became a reality because there was a client who wanted to innovate. Oh, this one at Cannes, by the way. Sorry, forgot to mention that. But what was interesting is the client really said, I want to explode creative excellence for Mars, and therefore there was an open, rolling brief to say, how do we break the internet, if you like? And so the idea around Jose was presented in essentially it's a quarterly idea generation meeting where interesting, exciting ideas are pitched, and anything that's deemed to be interesting is just executed. So this is one of a few award-winning ideas that came out of this open rolling brief, as opposed to, I want to be present in soccer, what are you going to do, this is your budget. It began with, how do we create unprecedented levels of attention? And it took about 18 months.
Super cool. Any other questions?
Right over here.
Oh, one more. Oh, of course it's from Taylor.
Yeah, sorry, it's me again. The question is, you used all those different AI agents. Was this something that you had experience with before this idea was kind of created and you kind of knew what you were getting into? Or was it more you're building the plane as you're flying it, so to speak?
So a bit of both.
Yeah.
So we, as an agency, we are very invested in using AI to come up with new creative ways of execution. This required us to up our game. And so it was very much a learning process. Hence, the idea was where we started, and then a world of pain in order to make it a reality. But everyone was obviously extremely satisfied, Snickers satisfied, with the result.
Shula, thank you so much.